to start off by sharing a little story with you, and I think it's how it came to be that I got so involved in the issues with the Columbia River Treaty. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I was being raised by my grandmother, and she's a full-blood Spokane. We lived down in the Portland area at that time. Well, it was late spring, early summer. We started taking trips to Oregon City because there was a falls there. And I didn't understand at first why we were going there because it looked kind of scary to me. But my grandmother climbed right down. Now you can't do it because it's all fenced off and the liability thing is really big. But this was back in the mid-'60s. And she climbed down these rocks and told us kids to come with her. There was me, myself, my brother, and my 3 girl cousins. And we all climbed down with her, and we had these burlap bags. And she edged her way over to the falls, right next to it. And she wasn't scared at all. And she reaches behind that water, and she grabs something in her hand, started moving, and we had to hold these bags open. And she's throwing these things in the bags, and we didn't know what they were. And finally, when the bag got heavy and started getting full, she'd call another one of the kids over, and we were going through this routine. And when we got done, I look in the bag, and there's these things squirming around in there. And I was like, Grandma, what are these? And she said, those are eels. And I thought about it, and I looked over, and you couldn't see them just by looking at the falls. And I said, Grandma, how did you know those were there? And now, in my older age, I saw a look on her face, and it was like she was reflecting, or she'd gone back to a different time. And she said, these eels, the same type of eel, used to travel up to Little Falls and Kettle Falls before the dams were put in place. And I could just see it in her face that this was something that was close to her, and she could feel that loss. And just hearing her voice and the way she expressed it, that stuck with me from the time I was 7. I'm 55 years old now, and that stuck with me, and it's in my heart, and it's part of who I am and what drives me today to do the things I do. Now, we weren't the only tribe that lost when the dams were put in place. The Colville tribe lost out as well, but the Spokane tribe is the only one that lost all of the anadromous fish, the lamprey eels, the steelhead trout that would come back up. We lost all of them. All we have now is a resident fish program. And I think what drives me a lot is trying to honor the memory of my grandmother and my grandfather and do this work to bring back what was lost to our people. 75 years since there's been salmon back up in our area. That's how long it's been. Generations that have gone by that never even knew that they were there. Our kids, we have to teach them, you were a salmon people, because they don't see it. If it's not in front of them, you know how things are, out of sight, out of mind a lot of times. And the kids never saw that. So when I get the opportunity, I take them with me to Icicle Creek Hatchery, and I show them the big fish and say, these are coming home. We're going to work as hard as we can to bring these home. A lot of the kids are like, wow, that would be so neat. Are we going to catch them with fishing poles? And, well, yeah, you better have a hefty one if you're going to do that. But the Columbia River Treaty was put into place in 1964. And not one single tribe was consulted when that happened. They were never even brought into the picture. So now we're kind of injecting ourselves into it. And the power of 15 tribes coming together, which is historic anyway, because trying to get 2 tribes in the same room to agree on anything is a tough. How we said it's time that we look at not just the power production and flood management, flood risk management. We have to look at what we're doing to the system, the ecosystem of the river, and how badly we've degraded it, how much we've destroyed in it, and how we've disrespected it. And all of the things we've done over time, that the salmon runs have gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. Folks like you that come out and hear these words and understand how important ecosystem-based function will be in the upcoming treaty, and how important those watersheds are. Not just, the main stem Columbia is the big artery, but we have so many tributaries that are a part of that and feed into that it's all inclusive. We need to take care of all of that because it's so important to the whole system, so important to the whole food chain. We got to work hard and please get that message out that, the more we have that understand and feel it in their heart that how important this whole issue is with the Columbia River and how it is all part of us because the Spokane River feeds right into the Columbia and it's all part of that system. So, and I'd just like to add one thing on a little bit of a side note. As chairman of the Upper Columbia United Tribes, we have a website and we have the phased approach we're looking at to do the habitat study for the Columbia to look at reintroduction of salmon and steelhead above Grand Coulee Dam.